September 13th show, and it is KARATBARS University. Welcome back, Pete FETTIG and Jim Deal.
Hello, hello.
This is Pete. Hey, Jim. How you doing?
Hey, Pete.
So we see the devolution of the Clinton campaign with her hiding. I guess she should be number one in the citizen program where they basically changed their name and hide, because she's been hiding even in her plane. Secondly, she's not been forthcoming for years about her health, which is deteriorating, and now it's finally tanking. We have to understand that the economy is about to tank as well. There's a number of markers of that. One of them is a little unusual, is the fact that Mr. Obama is trying to veto a law that allow American citizens to sue Saudi Arabia for 9/11. Now, when they start pulling on the string, they're going to discover that 13 of the pilots that were supposedly Saudi, many of them were alive afterward and flying for years for Saudi Arabia, Morocco, and other airlines. So they're going to start unraveling it and realizing that 9/11 was the start of the economic demolition of the world. And I want to make the connection because we did a review with Jim Fetcher yesterday about the controlled nuclear demolition of the World Trade Center, which we have conclusively proven with structural engineers, nuclear scientists, etc., and actual documents which we have from the Finnish munitions expert that was contracted by the Port Authority of New York in 1998. Now we just have to realize there's a direct connection too. They've now discovered that the comptroller, Dov Zakheim, didn't lose just $2.3 trillion at the Pentagon when they were about to do an audit that was not under the surveillance of Congress, but it's now up to $6.5 trillion. So what people should start understanding is the reason why Obama was going to veto wasn't over the fact that Saudi Arabia doesn't want to go through all this ordeal, but they actually said that America, this was a self-inflicted wound, even though in the sense Saudi Arabia is peripheral because supposedly some of their pilots were inducted to be actors in this scheme. We should start understanding that the derivatives market in Europe is ready to collapse, that we're now giving the Iranians money to create weapon systems that can attack Israel, which will unleash hell on them. We have Syria, where they're trying to broker some kind of a peace settlement, which I don't think is going to work because now Turkey has come into airspace and land in northern Syria, trying to create a, quote, no-fly zone, which is going to bring Russian aircraft directly in conflict with NATO and American aircraft. I think all the signs are there on the military and economic side that we're on the precipice of a volcanic maw of economic devastation, and people better get it that it could happen any day, that things could go crazy. And so if they're not saving in a currency that gives them something to have some buying power, if they're in fractional reserve currency, they're going to be very sorry.
Well, you know, something else, too, that you don't hear talked about at all in the mainstream news, surprise, surprise, is that the demand for precious metals has never been stronger. The availability, the supply of precious metals has never been worse. And, you know, it's just the prices do not fit what's going on economically. And the basic economic principle is supply and demand. The greater the demand, the more the prices go up if the supply's not there. Well, supply's not there, demand is there, and prices aren't moving. So if that doesn't indicate that the markets are being controlled, and of course there's been a lot of articles that have come out on this, then people just aren't paying attention.
Right.
So the thing I tell people is I say, if for no other reason, forget about everything else. Just realize that demand is off the charts and supply is as low as it's ever been, and the prices are staying the same. What does that tell you? That tells you better grab something now.
The German bank basically stopped taking a payment with paper gold. That just happened last week. Remember that?
No, I didn't hear about that one, but that doesn't surprise me. Yeah,
the main German bank says that we refuse to accept gold in paper gold, not real gold, as payment for settlements, which means we're now teetering on something really catastrophic. The derivatives market is out of control. The use of paper gold, which is how they manipulate the price of gold down, is the real price of gold should be somewhere around $20,000 an ounce. Who knows? It's going to be orbital. It'll be high. It'll be in the high five figures. How's that?
Yeah. Well, the thing that people need to realize is gold and silver at any price right now is a bargain, if you understand what's going on. So for those people that, get concerned about pricing and stuff, I say, you know what? If you're in there in the ballpark and pricing, grab it, because you might not be able to here in the not too distant future.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, where do you see this going? Because I think what we need to do is we spend a little bit of time on this. I want to talk about positive things, because an optimist faces reality, which is very ugly, and has a plan to survive and thrive. I see one of the ads on this network is, Vika Bayana down in Panama, where people say, we know that the good days are over, and they say, this is quite funny, but it may be true, and we know that the disaster is coming, so, if you want to survive, immigrate now or else, kind of thing. And I'm thinking, I'm not ready to do that. I want to stay and fight, but I can tell you that things can get pretty hairy here. And I'd rather be in a nation of people that, despite some of the federal government, the Democrats thinking they're going to take our guns, they'll take it like Charlton Heston said, from my cold, dead hand. It's not going to happen. If they have enough hubris to try it, they'll end up themselves dying trying to take our guns. Well, The thing is, the financial thing, you need to take control of this. It's wonderful to have Trump. I mean, the fact is, I think now that Hillary is crashing and burning medically and geopolitically, in terms of not being able to answer anything or provide any plans of any positive future to the people at all. I think it's wonderful to see that Trump is going to get in, but he's not the magic elixir to fix everything. The magic elixir starts with you at home. If you're a single mom, or you're a dentist and you have your money and your mortgage and your pension plans, or you're a welder, you need to start realizing, if you don't get into a different economy, an economy of gold by gram, you're going to be very sorry cat when the fractional reserve money becomes worthless, or pretty darn near worthless.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I tell you, another thing that you don't hear a lot of talk about is many people became extremely wealthy during the Great Depression.
Right.
So, what people hear about, the stories, is always the gloom and doom, but there's actually opportunity. And and people that position themselves with an asset that's going to increase in value, has the opportunity to increase in value in the future, could be positioned to really take advantage of some great opportunities. I mean, I'm looking for things to really go down. The old saying is you buy low and sell high. Well, so you just wait for the blue light special to go on, and you'll be able to pick up some things. Yeah. Because the economy won't stay down forever. It will eventually bounce back. It probably won't bounce back very quickly in this situation. But, there's opportunity out there for sure. There's so many things I see going on that I think are just humongous in terms of energy and lots of other avenues that are going to develop, I think, in time. If Trump gets in, of course, that will help accelerate that.
Oh, yeah. You will become energy independent within 2 years. We'll become, not only where we the Saudi Arabia of gold, we have more oil and gas, just gas. If we just set up a pipeline across the Alaska to China, we can replace all their dirty coal, which will stop a lot of the pollution entering the whole world, because they don't use scrubbers on their energy producing, and it will stop polluting their big cities. I mean, it can be a win-win situation for everybody. He wants fair trade, not free trade, and people need to start grasping that these trade agreements that they want to shove through are pretty horrendous. I mean, I was just reading here on one of the promo companies that sends out on what's called Sandy, the talk show guest alert from Sandy Fraser, and it shows how significant development. Over 200 law and economic professors across the U.S. oppose the Trans-Pacific Partnership and Treaty and the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, the TTIP, because they grant new power to foreign corporations to sue the U.S. outside the regular court system. Well, we have no liberty. I mean, it makes our court systems and our government vestigial when these international courts and corporations can run everything. Now, if you don't think they're making headway, look at what Obama's doing. He's even now promoted or nominated a foreign-born Muslim to be a judge in the Supreme Court. I mean, how obscene in this so-called Judeo-Christian country.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, there's also a push right now to override the states and allow for non-citizens to vote in this election. That's being pushed through by Loretta Lynch right now, or supposedly.
You're saying non-citizens? What do you mean non-citizens? You mean people that are still not American citizens?
Right. Anybody can vote in this election. They're looking to override the whole system.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. Going on behind the scenes right now.
Oh, well, they want to get all these illegals to be able to vote. And, of course, they know they're trying to do it overtly behind the scenes, but they want it right up front. I mean, Loretta Lynch needs to go to prison. This is a prison. Yeah. This is an imprisonable thing. I mean, she needs to go. All of her portliness needs to be residing in an orange jumpsuit along with Hillary. Maybe they can be enjoying apartments in the same prison.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much. I think, since we're talking about the election,
that's when good thing I'm sitting down so I don't fall down when I heard that.
Well, the stakes are so high on this election that they're. What I find really fascinating is they're not even pretending to be objective anymore. I mean, they're coming right out. The mask is off. They're pushing. They're afraid of Trump because
exactly. I see people that get shrill and shake their head and look at you and they're red-faced and they're saying something totally obscene about Donald Trump that's not even based on reality. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, there's been so much of a, they've just whipped up all this emotion about him being this or that and all that. And if you actually go in and study his history, he's not any of the things that they say he is.
Right.
But they've got him believing all this crazy stuff, and people are just, they're crazy.
Well, very few people actually believe it. The real issue is this. It's I don't care. In fact, I just heard a few weeks ago a movie star who had stated, I don't care if Hillary's corrupt. I don't care if she lied. I don't care if she's a criminal. I don't care if she killed somebody. I'm voting for Hillary. That's the problem, is that we have an evil population that doesn't really care. And that's scary. Yeah. That's very scary. So we're not just talking about an uninformed population. We're talking about a population that doesn't give a rat's behind because they want the same of what they've already got.
Yeah.
Which is suicidal because it's going to kill the economy. It's going to kill jobs. And if eventually they kill the economy to the point where they can't recharge the EBT cards, you're going to get almost 50 million people rioting in the streets because they don't have food. People say, that can't happen. I said, really? It can't happen. I said, I think that's what they said before the Great Depression, didn't they? That can't happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nuts. But, all the more reason to be looking at acquiring precious metals. And, again, the beauty of KARATBARS is you can do it in the privacy of your own home, set up a free account, make the acquisition on a secured server online, have it stored for free or shipped to you, and because it's only a gram at a time, you're only looking at $65-70.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, isn't it? So now the procedure is, for people should understand this, it's primarily a gold saving club. You're introducing changing dollars into, or whatever currency you are, if you're listening anywhere in the world, into gold by the gram. You can also get the gold-based currency, which are smaller currency notes of less than a tenth of a gram of gold.
Correct.
So that's what it is. And, of course, we're not moving into what's called Armageddon mode, where we're using it as a currency of exchange. We're saving in gold against the fractional reserve currency going pop. That's what it is. It's just a gold saving club. So you're not even selling a product. You're exchanging dollars for something that's going to maintain value. That's how easy it is.
Yep. I mean, the way KARATBARS always talks about it is you're preserving your purchasing power. That's one way of looking at it. If the dollar continues to tank, let's talk about the people that aren't convinced that the dollar's going to tank. Worst case scenario, you diversify and you have a mix of gold and paper money. And guess what? If the dollar doesn't tank, you can always put your gold right back on the market. You're not going to lose anything. If the dollar does go the direction, which you may not be convinced of, but it does go the direction that we believe it will, you're going to be real happy that you did. My point is you can't lose either way. I don't care what your view is about gold or silver or any of that other stuff. It's always held value, no matter what.
It's a no lose game. Now,
absolutely, it's absolutely a no losing situation.
So, firstly, the people, when we tell them to make a list, we say, okay. The first question I ask: would you would you want your relatives to face economic devastation, or your colleagues, or your business partners, or just other citizens that live in your community? Because if they're destitute, they're going to come to you looking for stuff, food stuff, clothing stuff, anything, even pumping the gasoline into your car so they can go somewhere. People need to understand this. You need to introduce this information to your friends and relatives and colleagues, because it's equally valid that if they don't have something to buffer against the economy, they're going to come to you looking for your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a lot more than a business opportunity. This is actually helping to ensure the stability of our future, because the more people that are in a position of strength and not weakness, the better everybody's going to be. And so, what's nice about KARATBARS is you can actually build a business here. You can actually make money while you're helping people and helping your whole culture and your society. I mean, anytime that you can have an asset that's going to hold value, and when things get unstable, that's a huge, huge positive. So this is far and away more than a business. Certainly is a business, which is great, because you get paid to go out there and do something that's going to help everybody
and help the community. In fact, one of the great principles about this, if you only succeed when you help others succeed, and you shouldn't waste your time with people who don't seem motivated at the time. Leave the door open and send them information, but just move with the movers. In other words, only help the people that want to help themselves. Just move on. Next. The same thing I see myself with Nutrimedical. I have an online functional medicine wellness practice. And the first step is they listen to the show, or they send me an email about their health problems, whether it's cancer or something else. And I lay out and tell them which clinics around the world can provide this or that treatment, or what nutraceuticals they should have, or what types of conventional and functional medicine tests they should have. And if they listen to me, they prosper. And if they don't, well, they suffer and usually die prematurely. And, that's an ugly thing, but, people are going to die financially with what's coming. They're going to get wiped out. And some of them are going to have worked all their life for savings or pension funds or whatever. When the correction happened in the spring, one of our people up in Los Angeles who had a pretty hefty pension as a firefighter chief noticed that with the collapse of the international finances in the last 6 months to 9 months a year, they'd lost something from 140% funded in their pensions, because it's Caltraz, the California pension fund program. It dropped to 90% funded. Well, that's not good. That means you're not going to get 100% funding of your pension. So now, if you've got good money in the bank and the currency still has the same value, you're suffering, but you're okay. But if that's all you've got, boy, are you in trouble. I don't think people kind of get an idea that, that, and it's really important to tell everybody, put the scenario up. And people say, well, I'm embarrassed to talk to my dental colleagues, or my welder colleagues, or my taxi driver colleagues, or the other single moms. Really? Okay. Visualize this. Would you like somebody to tell you about an opportunity so that you aren't going to be destitute if the currency becomes, say, 40% less valuable? I mean, that's a real possibility. Other currencies are probably going to go really bad. It's like if America gets a cold, somebody else dies of pneumonia in the world economy. So, we'll suffer some, but other nations will be devastated. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for those people that are concerned about what other people will think of them by sharing this, well, they're more concerned about themselves than they are about their neighbors. And that's, that's
selfish, yeah. It's selfish.
Yeah,
you shouldn't. You should be more concerned about caring about them, whether they like or don't like your message, or even like you. You have to say, if that's being a real good Christian and a good American, is we care about our nation and our fellow American and fellow citizens around the world, because this business is for anybody. You can be in Chile, you can be in South Africa, you can do it anywhere if you're listening to this program, and we'll help you. Back in a moment with Jim Deal and Pete Fettig. Come back, and the big adios is, I don't think it's any further away anymore. When I see the harassment by the Iranians of American boats, they're now harassing our surveillance aircraft, saying they're going to shoot them down when they're in international waters over the Strait of Hormuz. So that's the hubris of having a weak-elbowed president, this idiot-in-chief I call the Abominator, who, by the way, is not stupid. He is the deconstructor par excellence, and he's brought in an army of these morons like Loretta Lynch, who did a total pass on Hillary Clinton. There's many other people cooling their heels in prison from one thousandths of the violations and crimes that this Hillary Clinton monster have done. And, now that they're saying this is coming up in October, they're trying to push this through. These people are they're over the top, aren't they?
Well, what's amazing to me is how little playtime it got where Loretta Lynch met Bill Clinton on the tarmac before the
they weren't talking about grandkids and golf games.
I know, but that just got buried. And I mean, if it wasn't for Trump kind of bringing it up and putting it out there, it would have probably gone away a lot quicker. But nobody.
Well, I think already both Comey at the FBI and Loretta Lynch already should have been removed from their position.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I guarantee you, when Trump comes in, if he starts pulling that sweater thread and investigating, both of them are going to go to prison.
And that's, to me, why there's so much motivation to make sure Trump doesn't get in, because he will unravel all of this stuff.
I'll tell you what, if we don't have enough voter fraud, which, by the way, they can swing the vote 7 to 9%, but, Hillary can't fill a gymnasium, and Trump has overfill of a stadium. That alone should tell you that the actual voter percentage and the motivation of the voters that are saying they're going to vote are way higher on the Trump side. And to get the vote out is apparently Obama spending $10 million more to make sure that the newly minted Americans that have just become citizens are going to get out to vote. And, of course, that means they're going to try to make them Democrats by doing a Democratic presidential thing. And how does the president have a right to actually be pushing and using Air Force One to actually push a candidate like the Hitlery rotten Clinton? This is another violation of public policy and public use of money. It's not right.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. So she's using a government plane for her campaign?
Well, he was taking her around on a number of things. She has her own plane now, but she was for a while with Air Force One. And I think it's pretty ridiculous that Obama is directly endorsing her. He just thinks she's going to continue the policy. Right now, for example, just look at Obamacare. Premiums have gone up anywhere from 40 to 60 to 70%. This year are going up again. We have 86% of people can't afford co-pays. We have death panels, which means it's postnatal abortion. If you need major treatment or surgery and it's denied because you're older, that means we're aborting you, buddy. We're going to take you out of the system. We're going to kill you by omission. We're not going to treat you. We're just going to let you die. Now, if you compare that to other countries like Canada, Britain, and elsewhere, the way that the healthcare system runs in this country is an obscenity. It's an obscenity. And the costs are ridiculous. I know when I was a internist working in taking care of 4 general internist practices, which I took over in 97 at the Swedish Hospital Medical Center, they paid me $60 an hour with no benefits, and when they were billing for the average patient in the intensive care unit, it was between $30,000 and $60,000 a day. 30 and 60,000, and those are my patients, intubated, or on heart-lung pump systems, on all kinds of fancy technology, and they paid us nothing. So the system, the healthcare insurance industry, and the big hospital systems made buco bucks, and they're also involved with the speculation garbage. So if you don't get out of the fractional reserve system when they pull the plug because their next plan is to have biometric currency, if you don't think it's coming, you're going to be in a state of apoplectic shock when it does. And welcome back. And so, Pete, let's talk about how to empower people, how to get them started. We want to review the steps. The first thing is make a list. Like Santa Claus, check it twice. Include your relatives, friends, colleagues, anybody that's worked with or you're in contact with, or even just your neighbors. Then decide who to call first, if there's 5 or 20. And then get your upline to help you by just calling and playing a sizzle call, 5 minutes, finding if they're interested, if they are included in saving in gold by the gram, and just get them signed up, get their KYC, know your customer documents, get back to them the next day to make sure that you can send them a video link so they can look at the videos. We have our basically our KARATBARS University information over on our website, Nutrimedical.com. And there's lots of great videos from Dan Geromo and others that explains the system very, very clearly. It also explains all the new nuances, the K exchange, the legal issues of this. I mean, legally, they're so tight in terms of the control over KARATBARS. In Germany, it's more regulated than in America or anywhere other place on the planet. And once people sign up, it's like no latte per day. You just don't have a latte, or you decide to not go to dinner one time a month. You're going to save enough money to start saving and go by the gram. And that's that simple. And if you can sponsor 2 people downline either leg, and they can do the same thing, it's like an exponential growth, 2 to the power of 12 for 12 months. Usually within 90 days, you get enough network, you're getting free gold. Pretty cool, isn't it?
People are 1,000 people, and we've got talk to your upline. We've got tickler files that help you to think of people that you know from your insurance, car insurance, from your medical insurance, from your home insurance, whatever it is. You know at least 100 people fairly well.
Right.
And there's really not a reason not to be able to write down 5 to 20 people to contact. And I guarantee if you can write down 100 people, we're going to find out of that list, even if it's not the first 5 to 20 people, there's going to be 10 to 15 people in that list that want to get involved. We just need to contact them. It's a process of elimination and time. And so there really isn't an excuse not to push forward if you're going to get involved. Don't just get involved and then try and blame it on the system if you don't make any money. You have to go to work, and if you make that list, that's how it works. We contact that list and we help those people just like we're going to help you.
What's amazing is so simple. People I usually find that I help, they're embarrassed to call me for the second call-up. And they say, after the first one, said, that was too easy. If you got on your phone the ability to do a 3-way call, you just simply call them, call up the, they're listening on the line, they're just passively listening. The person gave you their list. And you just play the sizzle call. And you just ask them, are you interested? And they say, yeah. And they said, okay, what's your email? I'll email you some videos. And if you're interested, get your customer documents together. We'll talk tomorrow, and I'll get you started. It's that simple. You can wrap the whole thing up in about 15 minutes. It's that simple, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
So you spend an hour a day, you can get 3 or 4
people get it.
You can get 3 or 4 people kind of interviewed in 1 hour. If you just do 1 hour a day, 4 to 5 days a week. That's all you have to do.
That's right. That's right. Even with follow-ups, there's no reason that you shouldn't be able to do this in a month and be rocking and rolling in 30 days.
Right.
If not less.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, isn't it? That people don't realize the system is made so simple now. And the thing that's really I found remarkable, within a few weeks, we had people signing up under us in foreign countries and continents. It's like, wow. South America, Russia, Bulgaria. It's like, you're kidding. So it's a worldwide network, and it's people that are getting it. They're listening to the programs now. For example, our program today, we'll be putting an RSS feed on everything right up to Google Play and our videos, and we do a recap after the shows every day now on YouTube and Vimeo. So you can see it on either YouTube or Vimeo. I usually embed the YouTube version of the clip, but it's on both. It's identical. And I cover all the major topics and issues of the day, give a summary of what our guests talked about, and also cover some of the news like Drudge and Google News and, Green Med Info and other major news sources. And it's that simple that it's like riding a bicycle. The training wheels come off the first 20 feet you go. You don't need trainer wheels.
That's right. That's right.
Now, here's an example of how simple it is. We've had people that had delays in getting their KYC documents, and they go back to check their membership. And it's like, oh my gosh, if I'd just been calling people, this is the amount of money that I could have earned, because it's calculated out based on the number of points they've accumulated on one leg. So they haven't done their banking leg, their power leg, which is their main leg, has accumulated all these points because we even sponsor people under them that they didn't even talk to. We're sending people downline all over the place because we only need 2, which happened last year. So now we're just sending them all over the place, and we're doing it automatic. So we're letting the computer system at KARATBARS send all of our new customers that come into Nutrimedical 7, and we're placing them under all you out there based on the automated system of KARATBARS. So you're going to get customers and people that have never talked to you that we place there, that are downlining you, that are going to make you money. That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It truly is amazing, and a lot of people don't understand what it means to be able to get paid to infinity. It doesn't have to be necessarily the first 2 people that you get into the business, the first 2 people that you talk to. It could be the 100th person that you talk to. It just never ends. That's the cool part. It's one of the most intriguing aspects of the compensation program, that you can get paid to infinity, both in the unilevel part of the plan and the dual team system.
Yeah. Now, how many years has KARATBARS been going now?
Well, they're announcing a 5-year anniversary incentive right now. So in the U.S., it's been here for about 5 years.
Now, I know that Dan Giromo, who died at, I think, Christmas Eve last year, he was only involved with it 3 years when he had it. I think when we started talking to him, he had by that time 105,000 people under him.
That sounds about correct.
Yeah, that's a lot. Now, you have to understand, Dan was not in perfect health. When he started KARATBARS, he was already in congestive heart failure. And that's what took him out. So he was actually so positive, so motivated, even though he's running at 30% cardiac function, he built a giant network, which now his family owns, and lots and lots of gold. And he's got a network that no matter what happens to the economy, they're going to be okay. Now, the problem is you're never really completely okay unless you also get your neighbors, your friends, and everybody else you know in this system, because the powers that be and the politicians like Obama, they elect themselves on your future debt. They elect themselves on the future debt of your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. They create money out of thin air based on the idea that they've got you enslaved for decades and your descendants. That's what it is. People don't know that. So when you see Obama giving as they saw this black lady, I want an Obama phone, and they're going to get Obama this and Obama that, like Obamacare. The number of people who are getting Obamacare, quote, free is teeny. It's like 5 or 6 million people. Most people that have Obamacare, their premiums are so high, it's insane. They can't pay the copay if they need something, and if they're a certain age, they get denied care. It's called death panels. Brought to you by Obamacare. Now, the same thing's going on with the economy. The economy is further shrinking. If Hillary gets in, which is, even if she only lives 5 or 6 months, because she's on her way out. I mean, either way, if she hasn't died at WABC TV, which I don't think is probably true or validated, I'd like to see proof. I want the autopsy report. I want the photographic evidence. I want all that stuff. But it's almost certain that a body double did come out of the building. That's not Hillary. Slim, 6 inches shorter, different hairline, and in fact, this body double has been seen publicly and photographed with Hillary. So she's gone to hospital. Most likely, she's not just sitting there in a ward reading a book with her funky glasses because she's got a brain injury. No, it's most likely she's in an intensive care unit on a ventilator because she was in serious. And by the way, when they say, including Lisa Bardak, that she had allergies causing this cough, that's a patent lie. This cough is due to aspiration pneumonitis. I know as a doctor. Anybody who didn't know is obviously, if I was the chief of staff training Lisa Bardak, I would say, you're not making the grade here, and you're not going to pass this residency. So if she's that dumb, or she's that much of a liar to say that allergies is going to cause an incessant cough like that, firstly, you'd give steroid inhaler and a few antihistamines, and it would be gone in hours. So the fact that she's going on and on and on, coughing her head off, she has pseudobulbar palsy. Now, what does this mean? When we hear about, Loretta Lynch, good name for her. She's Muslim, and she's totally a toady for the Democratic Party and the corrupt government, the same as this idiot, supposedly a Republican, Comey. But by the way, he was an attorney for this, one of the main banks actually laundering money for the drug cartels. So you got to understand, these guys are both corrupt. And if you think this corrupt government isn't going to crash the economy, if they think Trump's going to get in or try to declare martial law if they do major terror activity, you're delusional. They're going to do everything they can, including try to get illegals to vote. They're in a panic mode right now because most of them, if push comes to shove, are going to start going to prison. For example, if they allow this law, which is a bipartisan bill, of both Congress and the Senate, with both parties, to sue the Saudis have already accused America of a self-inflicted wound at 9/11. I don't conjecture on this. I got death threats over it. I got fired over it. I was inside. I was security cleared at presidential level to work with the FBI and CDC, and even met them 6 months before 9/11 when they're going to do the war game. I know the people at NORAD and U.S. Space Command to put the false icons on the screen as part of the war game. So it's not open to people's damned opinion. It's a fact. Now, do you think how close they are to the pulling the economy apart? I think 9/11 was a cover-up of primarily economic issues. And we noticed that there was a delay there for a series of years, but 2008, the structural problems in the economy are just teetering on total collapse. And right now, the things that were put in that system, like that movie The Big Short, are considerably worse. They had a rant there for about 3 or 4 minutes that all these people went to prison and this happened and they revised the economy, and then they said not. In other words, nothing changed. And now the economy is set to completely blow up. It's like, the demolition of the Sands Hotel in Las Vegas years ago. It's going to fall on this footprint, but the World Trade Center not only fell on its footprint, 40 to 50% of the mass of the building wasn't even a debris pile because it was turned to an atomic vapor by nukes. They're going to nuke the economy. They're going to nuke the borders. They're going to nuke the society, so increase the violence with racial and class warfare, and they want things to get total chaos so they can have total control over the population. And believe me, if they can blow up the economy, all of your money is going to be electronic dividends in their supercomputer, except those smart people have gold by the gram. They can buy and sell, they can trade, they can barter, and they can be outside of this crazy economy that these global industrial maniacs and global corporatists want to push on us. That's coming real quick. My guess it's going to be their plan is to have it done by 2020 from all the research I've done, which means less than 4 years, 3 years and 3 months. They expect to have their system completed. Have you heard things like that as well?
Less than 3 years. I'm sorry, I missed it.
Less than 3 years. Less than 3 years. They plan on having the global economy under their total control.
That would not surprise me. That would not surprise me. They want to eliminate cash. So,
well, even the chairwoman of the Federal Reserve, Janet Yellen, she always looks like she's trying to hide up something. I haven't done it yet. She's got that guilty look, like she's already done something really, really bad or evil. And she's already said we want to have a Fed coin, which is a biometric version of the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can imagine the Federal Reserve System, how evil it is already, going completely biometric. Now, overnight financial transactions, 2/3 of the dollars in the world are already electronic. 90% of the currency on Earth is Fed Reserve notes. Most people don't know that. 90% of the wealth on Earth is in Fed Reserve notes, U.S. dollars, which is neither U.S. nor dollar nor Fed. They have all these confusing terms that are total lies.
Right. Yeah, that's very true. It's very true.
It's too bizarre. And the people buy it. Oh, yeah, no, that's the U.S. dollar. Said, okay, does the U.S. government do it? No, the U.S. printing office puts a little mark on these Federal Reserve notes when they're and the Federal Reserve says, yeah, they're dollars now. They put what we call financial pixie dust on them, and they send them back to the printing office, and now they become money.
That's right.
So, I don't know what else to say to people. Let us help you. Let us rescue you from yourself. The same thing I do when I rescue people from their own health. They'll say, Doc, this and that's going on, and I'm on 6 or 8 or 10 drugs, and my doctor doesn't really understand, and he's giving me more pills, and I'm feeling awful. I'm thinking, well, let me help you. Well, I don't know. I don't want to stop. And, if they're really resistant to stopping, I'm thinking, well, I'll make myself available, but unless you trust me to actually get you from A to B and get you down from 10 drugs to maybe 2, and get you off these other drugs safely so you don't crash and burn just because you taper too fast. But the same thing financially. People have to understand, well, I already have 2 jobs. I get a full-time and a part-time job. I said, really? You have 2 just over broke jobs. And your money, if it becomes less valuable, you won't be able to afford to even get the gas in your car to go to work. I don't know, most people are starting to get it. That's why Trump is surging so much, because he's focused on all these economic issues for his entire campaign over the last 15 months. And the reason why Trump has surged over all these other candidates, he's not establishment. He's trying to actually fight for the American public. And he's focused on these issues to the chagrin of the media that wants to bury it, that it's not really an issue. We'll be back in a minute. If you need help, you need to call us, you need to email, you need to be in KARATBARS. God help you if you don't, because it's coming quick. It could happen any day. They pull the plug on the system. Yes, and welcome back. Pete, give us your formulas, the formulas of the people that you admire within KARATBARS that build a network, that get going. What are the elements that make people good at this? And the good thing is, you don't just take people that are stars that are naturally good. So there's some people we just show the program and they go boom, and they do it so fast. It's like, I don't need to train you. They're like a business we call sponge. They just naturally know how to market, they know how to motivate, they know how to get people involved. They just do it. What we wanted to make it is so simple that the average person can show it to another average person and build a network. So what's the key things that you found make a stable and a good system for people to replicate?
Well, I would say number one is that you don't try and sell anything.
Right.
This is not about selling. This is about sharing. This is just literally, hey, I'm buying this. You can buy this. It's affordable. It's an affordable way to get gold because most people can't afford to buy gold by the ounce. And by the way, you can get paid if you refer others to buy the same way. And that is really the essence of it. It's almost like telling people about the movie that you just went and saw. And
yeah.
The referral that you make for going to a given business or a grocery store or what have you. It's that simple. It's making referrals. It's not about selling. It's about sharing. And when people get that through their minds, I think the biggest thing is finding people to talk to once you have truly exhausted the people that you know. That doesn't happen for a while. That shouldn't happen for at least 6 months to a year because everybody, like I said earlier in the program, everybody knows at least 100 people very well. You can't live in a cocoon your whole life and know people.
And I know. I've heard these comments. I had one gentleman that was over in Great Britain. He said, we want to do the system, we're motivated, we have all the reasons, but we only know 3 people. I'm thinking, you mean you just landed from Mars, and in 15 minutes you only know 3 people? I'm just kidding. But I don't know how people can say that. I mean, if you're in a country and you're near a big city, which they were near the city of London, how can you say that? And now they came back after deciding to stop making excuses and say, yeah, we want to do the system. And the thing is, even if you did only know 3 people, those 3 people probably themselves know hundreds of people. So when you start getting into their people, it's not just who you know, it's who the people that you contact, who they know. So it expands. I mean, if you look at the number that have heard through us over the last year on KARATBARS, you're probably talking, that have heard about KARATBARS, hundreds of thousands, at least. Let's do it. KARATBARS Just exchange your fractional reserve funny money, anti-money I call it, like antimatter, for real currency, KARATBARS, gold by the gram, better than gold and silver coins even. And do it today before tomorrow becomes a dark day. You know, they call it a Black Friday or a day of destruction. We'll help you. We'll make it simple. It's just a saving club. We'll make it simple for you, just a no latte day. Thank you, Pete. You did a great job as always, and Jim Deal. We'll be back in a moment with health and wellness, and hour number 3, Tim Alexander, and an autopsy of what's going on with the Hillary and her health and much more.